Hello everyone and welcome back to DMG. I've looked at now a pretty wide range of HP pavilions from the late 2000s. I've looked at the later series encompassing the DV4, the HDX16, among others. I've looked at some of the smaller ones like the DV3000, but now it's time for a huge one. This is the largest model offered in the first Core 2 Duo and Turion Pavilion series. This is the DV9000. It is 17 inches. I have been sent this laptop in pretty pristine condition. This is almost brand new, and I actually have the original hard drive as well. So after we see what it is like today, we'll put that original drive back in and see what it would have been like to use like 20 almost years ago. But this is the Pavilion DV9000, and as always, we're going to get right into it with the ports. So on the left side, S-Video, VGA, HP expansion port, 56K modem, 10100 LAN, 2 USB 2, Firewire 400, SD reader. On the front, as is customary, 2 headphone jacks and microphone and IR receiver. And on the right side, 2 more USB 2, LightScribe DVD rewriter, and a express card slot. Unfortunately, no remote here, although it was an option with this laptop. And then you've got the power jack, of course, and that's it for the ports. Bottom is noteworthy because it has 2 hard drive bays. This model came with 3 gigabytes of RAM, which, although it sounds very odd today, was not an uncommon configuration option when this would have launched around like 2007, 2000-ish? Yeah, 2007. So this is the only Pavilion I've ever seen to have a lid latch, because larger laptops do often have one of those. And opening it up, well, the screen is quite expansive, and the touchpad is very not centered. It looks pretty bizarre to have the touchpad way over to the left side here, but let's set this down and take a bit of a closer look at the inside. So here it is. It is quite a large laptop. The keyboard, of course, has a numpad off to the right side, always, well, not even just a nice touch. It's a must-have on a laptop as large as 17 inches. As usual, Pavilion touch controls up on the top here. I've noticed that these seem to be a little more responsive than the ones on the HDX, which is interesting. You would think they would get better on the newer models, but the older Pavilions actually have larger touch strips, and I think this one has also been used very little, considering how good of a condition it's in. This looks like this plastic looks almost like completely silver on camera. It's very hard to see, but there is a little design etched into it. Always a lovely thing to see with Pavilions. They always have nice, subtle designs on the non-special editions, and on the special editions, those designs are a lot more obvious. They use brighter colors, that sort of thing. So, right here, Turion 64X2 processor and NVIDIA graphics. Now, that doesn't mean this has a discrete graphics chip. That just means this laptop uses the internal graphics on the NVIDIA Enforce chipset, because this predates when AMD bought ATI and started making their own chipsets for their Turion CPUs. They switched away from the Enforce chipsets on the Turion Ultra chips. So this uses Enforce 630, I believe, with GeForce 7100 graphics. And that does mean that this system will not run Windows 10 or above. You can run Windows 10, technically, but the graphics experience is awful because the card is not officially supported, so I recommend Windows 7. And with that, let's fire it up. So while it's turning on, let's look up on the screen a little bit. Just like how the touchpad is wildly off-center, so is the webcam. It is way over to the left here. It's very funny when you take the Pavilion formula and scale it up to a laptop this large. So there's our graphics card, the GeForce 70150M on the Inforce 630M chipset. And these GeForce cards are not good. We're working with 2 ROPs and TMUs, 2 pixel shaders, and 1 vertex shader, DirectX 9 support of course, and 64 megabytes of DDR, although I do believe that that is actually shared with the chipset. Like it is reserved memory from the system memory instead of the graphics card's own RAM, because there isn't a RAM chip next to the graphics processor, so I don't know how it would actually have its own RAM. Of course it uses the TL60, the highest end at this time AMD Turion mobile chip, and of course motherboard, there it is, DV9700 is the SKU. And because this is not a Centrino platform laptop, you don't get Intel networking controllers and Intel Centrino Wi-Fi. You get Qualcomm Atheros Wi-Fi and NVIDIA Ethernet. As for audio, just like all of the Pavilions, it uses Altec Lansing speakers, and they do sound quite nice. Although it lacks a subwoofer, the size of the speakers does constitute decent bass response, and also they're spaced quite far apart, so you do get a good sense of stereo separation. So things on the left sound like they're on the left. They are a little bit heavy on the treble in some areas, but they're laptop speakers. That's kind of to be expected from all laptop speakers in general. Okay, now how does it perform? Well, I've talked about raw CPU performance in the past, and a 1.6 gigahertz, a 2 gigahertz Turion performs like a 1.6 gigahertz Core 2 Duo while being hotter and consuming more power. However, despite the inefficiency of the Turion architecture, I still get a good 1 to 2 hours of battery life on the system, pretty decent for such a large laptop. As always, testing maximum settings on Unreal Tournament, and also at the native resolution, which on this screen is 1440 by 900. So a bit higher than the 1280 by 800 offered by most Pavilions, but it keeps the same 16 by 10 aspect ratio. I'm glad that it's higher than 1280 by 800 because that can start looking crusty at 17 inches and above. So it's not running all that great. The GeForce mobile graphics of this era are not particularly good. They actually fall behind the Intel GMA in performance. That is later Intel GMA. The Core Duo Intel GMA was worse than the GeForce 7100, but the Core 2 Duo Intel GMA does perform better. So it's not awful, it's by no means the worst I've seen, but, you know, for a 17-inch laptop, it's just a natural assumption that number of inch of the laptop should correspond to performance. And having a very large laptop that is not also very fast does feel a bit odd. Although you're probably able to see this is a very good looking screen. It's one of HP's classic, suspiciously good-looking T-in panels that all of the Pavilions use. It's a really, really damn good-looking screen for the technology that it uses. The backlight is CCFL, so that means you do get a more natural yellow tone. Many of the early LED backlit displays on laptops looked like absolute garbage. It's also glossy. That means you're seeing everything behind me. So glossy screens are a preference, absolutely. I personally enjoy them. You might not. Yeah, those 2 pixel shaders and 1 vertex shader are not quite handling. They're not quite handling all of the dynamic lighting and reflections, and it's doing that weird glitch that usually only happens on ATI cards, where the smoke is all messed up. Now, something I don't like about this laptop is on the keyboard. Its right shift key is actually incredibly small. Its arrow keys are normal size, but its right shift key it's half the size it should be. Typically the shift key is double the size of a regular key, but on this laptop it's just the same size as the rest of the letter keys, and that really bothers me. That kind of manifests the most in Tetris Worlds, where the shift key is used to put blocks over in your little storage. And, I mean, it's not a huge complaint. I have already gotten used to it, and I've had this laptop for like 2 weeks. But it's just a thing to note. The keyboard does not extend all the way to the edges of the laptop either, so they could have just made the keyboard wider and completely alleviated that issue. I'm not quite sure why they did that. And it's not like they were saving money by using the same keyboard as other Pavilions or anything, because this is in fact a completely different keyboard than the rest of the Pavilions use. Okay, and today we're trying something new. This is Flat Out 2. The speedometer is lagging. That's not a good sign. Oh god. Oh boy. Now that is some input lag. The frame rate looks alright, but the input lag is absolutely horrific. I mean, I would call it playable, but there's about a quarter second of delay between button press and car move. So it's playable, but not pleasant. Oh god. Yeah, this is not the ideal way to play Flat Out. Might as well try one more classic, Need for Speed Underground. And then I think you've kind of gotten the point. And then I will put in this original hard drive so we can look at what this thing was like brand new. Yeah, again, the issue is not with raw performance, it's with input lag. Let me, Now you can see my hand, so you can see the delay. That's a lot of delay. It seems worse in Need for Speed than it was in Flat Out. This is... I mean, again, it's not, like, unplayable. It's just very unpleasant. And I am using the latest drivers and all of that. The GeForce 7150 is just not a very good card. However, although that wraps it up for Windows 7, that doesn't wrap it up for this laptop, because, again, I've got this fella, the original hard drive. Alright, original drive reinstalled. Are you ready to witness the Pavilion experience? Now, I actually haven't dug too deep into this, but it's fascinating to see how HP actually shipped these laptops after using many of them. Let's see, yeah, Vista. Previous owner was also dual booting 7 and Vista, but the Windows 7 is just a clean install. It doesn't have any of the neat utilities and everything that Vista does. So a lot of these utility things I haven't been installing when I restore an HP Pavilion, because either they won't run on Windows 7 or 10, they are garbage bloatware, or I can't find them online. One of those three reasons. So this is the authentic experience. Oh crap, I forgot the password. I think it might have been that. Yep, here we go. Oh yeah, and I did, before I put Windows 7 on here, I did install Unreal Tournament and GPU-Z so that I could see if the performance was any different on Vista. It's not. But this comes up every time the system boots, as always with Vista. But there are custom options in this menu. HP Games, HP Total Care, HP Network Assistant. HP Games is hilarious. Click here for hundreds of great games. Let's see what sort of news is in this news widget, because it last updated, I think, when Obama was president. Okay, build 2015 is sold out. So this last updated about a decade ago. There was something about Obama in here. Xbox One Halo. Wow. New Intel XPS 13. Yeah, so this has like January through, I think, like May of 2015. Yeah, January through April of 2015, actually. So here are HP's games. HP's incredible games. Chuzzle. Chuzzle sounds funny as hell. Let's chuzzle it up. So this is the Wild Tangent, like, game launcher. HP has shipped this on a variety of different laptops. This is not Pavilion exclusive. Oh, it's Candy Crush. Okay. It is HP sanctioned Candy Crush. Actually, this shit is fun. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're chuzzling. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh. There is some good chuzzle action to be had here. So this is the sort of game that the DV9000 excels at. It excels at chuzzling. Just simple 2D games. It's a decent looking game. It's not like a bad game or anything. It's just not Unreal Tournament. You know, it's just not a 3D game. I don't know how to chuzzle anymore. I am chuzzled out. Jeez, I haven't even filled the chuzzle jar yet. How much chuzzling must I do? I'm going to get addicted to this game. That is what is going to happen. I'm going to chuzzle too hard. Yes! Look how good I am at this video game. So, HP Fake Candy Crush is fun. I like it. Let's see what else is on here. I think a lot of these are downloaded from, like, an online service that is probably no longer online. No, I'm not buying your Chuzzle DLC. Let's try Fate, whatever that is. Okay, here we go. Fate. Yep. It's a top-down 3D RPG. That is exactly what this game is. Alright. So, it's running decently well. This is at 1024 by 768 though, and therefore it looks stretched. I mean, you can see that the text, it's wider than it is tall, and that doesn't look the best, since it's not at the screen's native resolution. Let's try something else. This is also the best I've ever seen Vista run. The disk I have doesn't have any of the patches and stuff pre-installed. And of course, the previous owner of this did install like the Vista updates and all of that, so this is actually, it's a better Vista experience than I would get if I were to do a fresh install, so that's why I'm going to keep this. Oh god. Is this going to be a stressful experience? How? How is it lagging in goddamn Bejeweled? Okay, so I think you're kind of starting to get the impression that this is not the best graphics card of all time. Because it is lagging in Bejeweled. Now granted, there's a lot of like animated textures and stuff. Oh, amazing. Oh, you control the bear. Why? Oh, wow, okay. So you control the bear while he's on the little track. Oh, this is amazing. Why even continue to make video games? We've reached the best possible outcome. This is the pinnacle of video game. Okay, that's enough fun. What other crap do we have? What is Total Care Advisor? Help and support. We've looked at that. eBay. No, that's just eBay. No, I don't want to run an updater. Oh, great. So it's just... No. So it's just HP... HP Total Care Advisor is just Windows Help and Support with a skin on it. Pandora Internet Radio. That would have been an HP inclusion. Oh, of course, Cyberlink DVD suite, and yeah, that's the good stuff. And Cyberlink UCam, that's another HP included software. There I am. Let's put it over here. Of course, there's the bizarrely placed, very off-center webcam. I have used this before. So, this is a much older version of the software than... Well, actually, yeah, this is a much older version of the software than comes with the HDX16, all of that. So the effects are different, there aren't quite as many, but it's still a fun little thing to play around with. Yeah, Norton Internet Security, that's one of the things that I immediately uninstalled. Sling Player, sign of the time. What the hell is Yongo? No, Vongo. That's still a goofy word. Sure. Let me guess, it connects to an online service that has long been taken offline? That's my guess. I do quite like this wallpaper. Vongo is in the way. Yeah, I do quite like this wallpaper. It's a very nice aesthetic. Definitely matches the arrow look of the whole laptop. Wow! Damn. AOL. Wow. Okay, so it's just ads. Okay. Doesn't look like we will get to use Vongo, so that is it. Just a bit of a neat look at the bloatware that this would have come with. Although I do think two things are really neat. I love the wallpaper, and I love this little search box down in the corner there. Of course, Windows 10 would add the internet search and all of that, but I find it so adorable. And of course, if you hit search, it probably just links to a web browser. Does it just open it in Internet Explorer? Yeah, it just opens it in, or rather in Firefox. Well, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for that. So that's going to wrap it up for the Pavilion DV9000. Even though its graphics chip isn't the highest performing, it does have a very nice screen, great speakers, is great for multimedia. It's just a nice system. It's cooled well, it's quiet, and it's got a very nice keyboard, good tactile feel, Didn't really cover it in detail because I've talked about so many other Pavilions, but the keyboard and touchpad, because they're the same as other Pavilions, they feel nice. It's a nice looking laptop. In general, I just really like it. So that's going to wrap it up for the DV9000. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed the look at what this would have been like to use new. So thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come back next time.